Good morning. Welcome to The Wandering Drew. I am Drew. Thank you so much for joining me today. This video, I'm going to change gears a little bit because I'm going to be discussing gear, my gear. To set the stage for this episode, basically a week ago, I was out camping in Big Cypress in the Everglades, and I came back home, and like I always do, I take care of my gear. Set up my tent, clean it out, unload my backpack, dry everything off, my sleeping bag, all those things. And as usual, I go through it and I kind of inspect it a little bit. While I was out camping on one day, and I believe it's in the video that I shot, I noticed there's a small cut or tear in my tent floor, which it was the Z-Pack's duplex tent. So I came home and I wanted to find that and look for it. I spread out the tent to set it up, dry it out. I want to clean it all off, make sure I get all the dirt and debris and everything else that's on it off. And I started looking for that hole that I saw. It was this tiny little pinhole, almost looked like a cut, like perhaps, kind of like the other cut I made in it by accident, which was my fault, where I dropped a knife in my tent and the blade went through the floor. So, and that's what this patch is. So I started looking through, and I then noticed I had more than one tiny hole. I noticed several pinholes on the bottom. The ground was quite rough where I was staying. There were a lot of sharp pine or palm fronds. They were dried, so they were quite hard. And this tent I have probably about 4 years or so, maybe even 5. I'll have to look back on it, but it's got some mileage on it, and it's been used a lot. So I noticed 2 holes right here, which I kind of marked them in black ink. So what I do with my gear is when I notice it, I mark it, and the reason is because it's hard to find it. So that's on the inside. So what I'll do is I'll also mark it on the outside. But in doing this, I then started looking through all the flooring, and there you can see the 2 holes that I had on it. So I then started looking through, and I located some more holes. And there's another one here. And I ended up going through and then finding even more holes on the other side as well. And these are more like abrasions. They're quite big though. There's one here and one here, and they're together. They're close enough that I probably could cover this with one patch. I hope it's focusing a little bit. So anyway, so that's what happened. So I decided to get online and contact Z-Packs, not because I think it's their fault or anything, or it's warranty or anything like that. It's basically a use item. I had the tent several years. I've used it several times, and I believe it's just a wear and tear item. So I ordered DCF patches, and I have small little tape ones, like I did that other patch, but because some of these are a little bigger, and they're on the floor, which to me is very, very important, I wanted to get larger patches. So that is exactly what I did. And DCF is not exactly cheap, but it's not exactly expensive to get a small little patch. What I do like about it is once you patch it, generally that patch stays on, and you don't have to worry about it. So the patches I got, they're 2.5-inch square tape, which has DCF material on it, and it's sticky. And this is what it looks like. So what I can do is, and you can cut these. A lot of people recommend you cut them in a round shape. You need a sharp scissor because the fibers are kind of strong. I may even use a razor blade. I don't know if that'll be strong enough to cut through it. But I'm thinking, I like to do the inside and the outside. They recommend you do the inside on backpacks, but they don't really give any guidance for tents. But generally it's smoother and you don't get as much wear and tear on the inside as you do the outside. But I like to do both sides because I think it's more, it strengthens the area better and it's more secure. And it's like double protection against a leak, especially on the floor. That's pretty important. So I bought 4 of these because I also noticed on my backpack I have several places where the exterior of the tent, I bought 4 of them. Some of the reason why is because I have multiple holes here that I'm going to have to patch, but I do have tape ready for this, for some of the smaller ones. But the larger ones I'll probably use a square, or I'll cut it in half and use half inside, half outside, and kind of sandwich it. And I think that'll do a good job on it. And if I get a chance when I do that, I'll probably record that. But that takes care of the tent. I also then started looking at my backpack. And what I noticed on the backpack is where these plastic or fiberglass stays are, I'm getting a lot of wear and tear. And it is beginning to rub through. Especially on the bottom where you seat it down, just from normal wear and tear, it kind of gets to the point that some of the material gets full of abrasions and eventually it tears. I also noticed here on my belt the material has been rubbed away from friction, and that's probably from walking. This is how the backpack would normally be. Let me take my stuff out. And so when it's loaded, these points over here are rubbing as you walk. You get the friction. So these areas where all these material come together are rubbing, and there's an extra piece of material here, but it's wearing out. So eventually I'll probably have to replace the belt. But the good thing is that all these pieces are modular and you can replace them. The bottom of the bag of my the bottom half of my pack, you can see right here along this barrier, which is where the belt rubs against, you can see a line, and you can see in fact that it is. So just to show you what I'm talking about, so here is the hip belt, and this is where it normally would stay, and you can see where it goes and rubs against this, there is a line, and the material is wearing out. Also, where you have this large junction together, you can see there's rubbing over here. So eventually, but this belt is made to be replaced, and it's easy to do. Where you have these fiberglass stays, you can see here I patched here already, but it's wearing through. On this side, you can see right here, there's a little pinhole. There is, in fact, a pinhole right there that goes entirely through. So if it was raining, water would be able to intrude in there. So I'm going to have to patch this. So that's why one of the reasons I got 4 of these larger patches so that I can do some of this work as well. This I'll probably just put a tape strip like I did on the other side, and that's cheap enough. But other than that, the pack's held up pretty well for what it is. But then I also noticed that the material here, and you can see right there, is wearing out. And you can see how it's ripped and it's holding on. So eventually I'm going to go be walking somewhere and this is going to break, and then I'm going to have a failure of the pack suspension and support on my back. And the same is going on this side, where with the tension and probably loading it up, like I said, I had 34 pounds on it, which this is really made for about 25. So, but you can see where the webbing has begun to tear. Fortunately, once again, this is made to be replaced. So fortunately, once again, Z-Packs sells replacement parts, and you can buy this. Sadly, it costs $20. Sadly, a new suspension costs $20, but it will give new life to this backpack. So what I'm going to do is replace it with this brand new, and it's basically just a net. And I decided to go with the original. They do sell a modified version now, a newer one, but I decided to keep with the original mesh. It is a little bit lighter, 0.2 of an ounce, So, but I figured that's what I have, so that's what I'll go with. It's slightly larger. I don't know if that's due to stretching, but the straps will lock in exactly the same way. So eventually what I'll do is I will take these straps out one by one to make sure that I put them in the right way, and also to keep the routing over these buckles the same. I don't want to go and put it, I mean, it might work, but I don't want to make a mistake. So I'll do them one by one. And it's really very, very simple that way. It's not a problem. What's going to happen is once I take this off though, I will be able to gain access to the stays behind it, and I'm going to tape this all up again and reinforce this so that this backpack should hopefully give me many more years of adventures with it. Eventually I may replace it, I may decide to replace it, but in the meantime, you know, they're quite expensive, they're not cheap, and I'd like to continue using it. So to put, you know, $30 or $40 of maintenance into an item that I use frequently and has a lot of miles on it and years on it, to me is not something that I'm worried about. I believe I bought these in like 2017 or 2018. So I've gotten, you know, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years use out of it. So I cannot complain about that. I think that it's done its job. I have many nights and adventures on it. I don't think I have quite the amount that a through hike would be, but I definitely have several trips on them. So a brand new backpack from Z-Packs right now is running about $400. So to put $30 or $40 or $50 into it, to me, is economically a good deal. And I will do that. And hopefully, I may video myself doing some of the repairs, but I think that this will keep this backpack servicing me for a long time, for the next several years. I may eventually replace them. I may decide to go to a newer one. They do have different material now. Some are lighter. They have larger ones, smaller ones. They've branched out a little bit. Z-Packs lately seems to be coming out with a lot more products. They've invigorated their advertising in my mind. I notice them a lot more. I'm getting a lot more emails, so they're letting people know about the products they're having. And they do have other companies that are kind of competing with them now, more in the lightweight and ultra lightweight market. So I feel that they are being innovative and bringing new products and changing design and catering to what people want, because now there's a need for that and there's some competition. So that's it. That's my maintenance I'm doing on my tent and my backpack after a trip. So that's why it's good when you come home to empty it out, clean it, and look it over a little bit. This is where you get, you know, to find all those things that are wrong and fix them or correct them, however that may be. Even if it means the item is no longer useful for you, but you don't want to find out that your tent leaks during a thunderstorm on a trail, or you're hiking down a trail carrying 30 pounds of gear and your backpack breaks because you didn't notice that the straps were tearing. So taking time out to repair it and fix it will help you and save you time and trouble later on down the road or on the trail. So that's it. So you've seen what I've noticed when I was cleaning it, and you've noticed what I've done to repair it. So hopefully we'll take these out on the trail and they'll do good. My trip to Georgia, I'm planning on bringing my solo plex tent. I will not be bringing the duplex most likely. But this backpack will be going with me. So that's it. That's today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I appreciate you doing so. If you have any comments, thoughts, opinions, any experiences you have with some repairs or changing out your items, I'd appreciate to hear from you. And all the comments I try to reply to. Consider giving me a like, a thumbs up. And if you're so inclined, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done it already. Thank you so much. Till we meet again. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some tape along this seam right here and patch and reinforce this area that's wearing out. I have a small little pinhole there. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take this stay out of my pack so that I can get to the area cleanly without any issue. Facing this net, this mesh on the back, so I'm going to also move this out of my way as well right now. But what I want to do is, the important thing to do is to clean this area so that I can in fact get a good seal or a bond. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol to clean it. And that makes sure there's no grease or anything that would hamper the ability for the glue to bond to the material. So all I've done is I put some rubbing alcohol on a paper towel and I'm going to clean it. And you can see there's some dirt and dust coming off of there. You know, like I said, this is, you know, several years use on this. I may even want to do this again. And then I'm going to let it evaporate and dry. The good thing about alcohol is it dries quite rapidly, especially it's a little breezy here. I'm outside, it's warm. I have several places I'm going to be cleaning. Basically, I'm going to be doing kind of repair. I'm going to do like a horseshoe shape down on both sides, both stays, and across the back. And that should do it for this backpack for now. And I think that will be it. I don't think I'll have any problems after that. There are already some patches over here, and I'm just going to go over those again. And I'm going to use one continuous piece from the top to the bottom, so I'm hoping that it will bond a little better. But you can see how this strap, both these straps have really worn out. And I apologize, I hope this is getting good. It's hard to see. Okay, so as you can see here, this is already drying. The alcohol has evaporated. I have the strap here. And this side, same thing. I used some rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna do a little bit more. Seems a little sticky. And I'm gonna just clean it off because I wanna get a good bond. There's already a patch here. I took one of the patches off with the alcohol. It kind of came off. And I also taped down here where I'm probably gonna just put maybe 1 or 2 rows of tape going across to support this and strengthen this because it looks like it's wearing out a little bit. I can see the top layer is kind of worn out. It's a little wrinkled though, so it'll be hard. And then I'll have them overlapping. So this will extend the life of this backpack, but the handwriting is on the wall. This backpack is going to eventually need to be replaced. There's no doubt about that. So I have a string of tape that is blue that matches the backpack. I may have to buy more, and I'd actually like to buy a wider piece. I'm gonna have to go online and see if I can get a wider piece for down here. Maybe I'll do this for now, and then I'll end up ordering a larger piece. So I'm just gonna measure it and see if I have enough to do at least both sides by the stays right now, and then I'll have another one for here. So let me see. I may have to order more, but I definitely have enough to do both these sides behind these stays, and going across the bottom here will be a different story. I think I'm gonna run out. So I did some sample measurements, and I'm not gonna have enough tape to do the U shape I wanna do. I have enough for both sides. I'm probably gonna have to order some more from Z-Packs or maybe somewhere else. I may be able to find it a little cheaper, I don't know. So let's just get a rough measurement here of what I need to do. And all I'm doing is I'm sticking it up in here and I'm measuring down to where the tape will go underneath this pocket for the stay. And I'm measuring it as accurately as I can. I'm gonna fold it. And this tape has been folded for a long time, so that does concern me a little bit. Hopefully it'll lay flat. So I just made a little crimp here so I can know where it is. and I'm going to mark it with my marker, if I don't write all over myself, just so I know that that is, in fact, where I need to cut. So you can see it's roughly the right length. And I should be able to do both sides with the same, in fact, length. And I'm just going to measure twice. You always say measure twice, cut once. So, and it looks pretty good right here, and it's pretty flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure back onto itself. So I'm going to cut two pieces because they should be the same length. And that will take me right to here. And it's, you know, want it to be precise enough. And I'm going to measure, I'm going to fold this over so I can make fold this over so I can make another mark right here. So I have two equal lengths of tape, and I'm going to just cut this. And this is easy enough to do with a scissor. The sharper the scissor, the better. Hopefully my scissor is up to the challenge. And you can see, unfortunately, this whole roll is going to be used, and this is all I'm going to have left, this little section here. So it's not going to do very much for me. This pocket, I'm going to start on this side, and I want to get underneath here and lay it down so that it is, in fact, reinforcing the area where the stay goes, because that seems to be what the problem is. The friction there is what's giving it the issue. So I'm just peeling it up, and I'm going to stick it as close to this stay as possible. And it is quite sticky, and it does grab very well. I'm trying to get off my finger without pulling it out of it where I put it. So, because unfortunately, it wants to stay with me. I'm trying to keep it flat so it doesn't wrinkle as well. And it's quite hard. The material is not exactly flat. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm basically just running it along this ridge where the tape will lay underneath the stay for the future. I'm going to try and tuck it in underneath this pocket here. Trying to get it as precise as possible in that area. And that's it. I mean, you know. And now what I'm doing is I'm just rubbing it to make sure it bonds well, and there's adhesive tape is sticking to the DCF material. Z-Packs recommends using it on the inside because it's smoother than the outside. And I am in fact going to do that. I'm going to order more tape, and I'm going to in fact reinforce it on the inside as well. But it's pretty hard to do in a backpack to get all the way down here. So just to give you a little closer look, here is the repair that I've done. So you can see right here, this is where I've taped, and I've run it along, and it is now in place. And once the stay is in here, it won't be coming out, I hope. Let me see if I can bend this without breaking it. That's the hard part here. So I'm going to put this stay back in. I'm going to let this dry and bond. And normally, obviously, you can do this in the field, but it says if you can, 2 days, and it should be fully cured and bonded. So I can leave this sit, no problem. I have no backpacking planned for the next several weeks. So this would, in fact, be able to bond. And there we go. So it's back on in place, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side now. So I'm going to start underneath here. Try and keep it smooth. Flatten out as I go. So there's no gaps, no wrinkles that are being, but it's hard because the tape is so sticky and it doesn't lay exactly flat. And there we go. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to rub it, so it hopefully makes a good bond with the pack material. And I am going to buy more tape. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to pack this a little better on the inside. I'm going to try and put some reinforcement there as well. I'm going to see if they have wider tape, which I'm sure they do. If I can't get it from Z-Packs, I may get it from another source. There's other people that sell DCF tape. It might be a little cheaper. I don't know.